Hello and welcome to our live show where we will be discussing the fourth test match of the Border Gavaskar Trophy and, of course, the Women's Premier League match between Royal Challengers Bangalore and Gujarat Titans. Both the teams have lost both their opening matches, um, and they are at the bottom of the table. One of them will be winning the match today, hoping that there's no rain. Before moving on to Women's Premier League, first of all, happy Women's Day to all women watching the show and who are not watching the show as well. Uh, Welcome Devashish and Bharat. Before we move on to WPL, let's first discuss the fourth test match of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. First of all, I think my first question would be, what are the changes that you think India is going to make? Because there's news floating that Ishan Kishan might come in place of KS Bharat. Devashish, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's the likely change which I think that will happen tomorrow. India might go in with Ishan Kishan because KS Bharat has not fired in the series. He has only scored 57 runs, but apart from the runs he scored, the manner he did not like to dominate the batting. So as is the case with other Indian batters as well, because most of the Indian batters looked pretty ordinary against Australian bowling lineup. But having said that, Ishan Kishan might be the perfect matchup for Rishabh Pant because he can dominate the batting. He being a left-hander, so he can nullify the Matt Kuhneman. So I think that might be a possible option because he spent a lot of time with Rahul Dravid in the nets in the two practice sessions in Ahmedabad. So that indicates that it can be a possibility of Ishan Kishan replacing KS Bharat.
Atreya, what are your thoughts? Bharat has just played two. I mean, he has just come into the side. He Do you think he has got enough chances to be replaced, or do you think it is the right choice to go for an attacking option?
I think he has not got the best of chances because although he has played in 5 innings so far, all of them have been on difficult pitches. I mean, it's not just Bharat. I mean, if you see all the Indian specialist batters, I mean, Bharat is a wicketkeeper batsman. All the specialist batters have also struggled. So it's a little unfair to judge Bharat on the basis of how he performed in these 5 innings so far. And more importantly, Rohit Sharma said at the press conference today, although it may not mean anything, that Bharat should be given a longer run. I mean, Bharat has just come in. He said that Bharat is an experienced first-class batter who has scored runs in first-class cricket, and he is new to Test cricket. And these have not been the best of pitches to bat on. So he said that Bharat should be given a longer run, and when Ishan Kishan's turn comes, he will also be given a longer run. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean that Bharat will keep wickets and Ishan Kishan will stay on the bench. But as far as going by what the captain said before the match, it looks like Bharat may still be given a chance. Although Devashish is right because in the 2 days before the test, I mean not today, day before and yesterday, Ishan Kishan got a fairly long run at the nets. So which sometimes indicates that that's what the team management might be looking at. But going by what Rohit said today, Bharat might just get another chance.
And today in the optional practice session, KL Rahul and Bharat were seen batting in the nets. Does not indicate anything, but they were the two batters who were practicing at the nets. I don't know. Strange thing happened with Indian cricket, but my assumption is Ishan Kishan might play in place of KS Bharat.
We will move on to KS Bharat's namesake that we have on the show, our own Bharat. Well, what do you think among Bharat and Ishan Kishan? Because these are turning pitches. And I'm assuming, it's just assumption, that probably even Ahmedabad track would be, if not a rank turner, will definitely be a turner. Ishan Kishan, the wicket keeper, batting, I understand. Let's talk about the two wicket keepers, Bharat.
So KS Bharat, couple of years ago, I did talk to him in a presser. By then itself, he had played for India A, and actually in that match against South Africa, he actually pulled Hendrik Norke a couple of times to the boundary boards. And then even in that IPL game, he hammered Hendrik Norke, the same bowler. But when it came to playing spinners in that same tournament, he was struggling. So I did put up a question to him about playing pace on the ball. And he kind of agreed that he likes pace on the ball over pace off the ball. So He's not perhaps not exactly the best player of spin. That is something one can say. And even in this third test, in the indoor test, one could notice that he played for the turn against Lion and he was cleaned up by a straight to one. He planted his front foot too early because he's basically looking to play for the turn. So as far as batting is concerned, perhaps is better off against pace bowling. Wicket keeping definitely, Case Bharat is definitely better wicket keeper. When I've seen it in the New Trophy over 4, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. So if they really want to take Ishan Kishan, it would be perhaps because he's a left-hander. Someone a little bit of change up in the batting order alongside Jadeja as a left-hander. So but I think if you look at it, KS Bharat has been given 3 chances. I believe he should be given one more test before they really take a call on him.
Maybe the think tank might also go this way, that throw in Nishan Kishan for this test match and then maybe give Bharat a chance in the next series or something of that sort. But Devashish, India has struggled against Nathan Lyon, or more than struggled, I would say we have given wickets to Lyon, even in Australia. Why do you think that Nathan Lyon is that effective against Indian batters?
Yeah, we have to accept that Nathan Lyon is one of the best off spinners in the world at the moment, without a doubt. And obviously, he did not had a great test match in the first test at Nagpur, but ever since that test match, he came back strongly. And the best part of Nathan Lyon is varied his pace, the pace with which he bowled, and the line and length. So that is very crucial if you want to be successful in on these turning tracks, and that is what the Australian spinners, not only Nathan Lyon, all the three Australian spinners in that indoor test match has done well. Means they varied their pace, they bowled straighter, and they were willing to flight the ball. So and I think the Indians also played in their hands because they played some rash shots, attacking, tried to be over aggressive, and that brought their downfall. So, but having said that, I think the Indians missed a trick by playing Nathan Lyon as well. They should have.
Bharat, do you notice any specific? Because I'm asking this to Bharat because those who do not follow his threads do not know the detailing that Bharat has with every player. Women's cricket, men's cricket, he's fantastic. So, um, have you noticed something in Nathan Lyon's action, maybe his height or something which makes it a little difficult for the Indian batters?
Yeah, yesterday I wrote in that piece. The one difference is, see, even if you go back to 2013-14 Ashes, under the mentorship of John Davison, he was bowling from round the wicket, right-handers. But in Asian conditions, it's not something he has used it much. If you look at the Lahore Test, where he took those 4 wickets or whatever, or even the Bangalore Test when he took those 8 wickets, he was bowling from over the wicket and looking to bowl outside off, slightly outside off, and sneak through with the batter's defense. It is something the traditional off spinner would do from Australia. You look at Ashley Mallet or even Tim May for the matter after a long time. These spinners try to bowl from outside off and look to sneak through the right-handers defense. But Nathan Lyon here is generally bowled from round the wicket right-handers. It is because basically in this DRS he wants to bring the stumps into play. Wickets have low bounce. This is something that he has done, and that point is done. Obviously, if you go back to what I wrote yesterday in the Gaul Test in 2016, when he played at the Palakkale International Stadium, he had only one mid-wicket fielder for Kusal Mandis as he kept on slog sweeping. Here he's bowling in the indoor test, or for the matter, even the second test in Delhi Test. He was bowling from round the wicket with 3 fielders there, one at short fine, one at square leg, one at mid wicket, and the ring of fielders on one side. So basically, he's looking to bowl from round the wicket, looking for LBWs on tracks, low bounce, and with the packed leg side field. So I think this is one thing the line has definitely done. Another thing is obviously I think he's bowling a little more flatter. If you look at some of those deliveries in indoor test, it touched 94.5 kilometers per hour. When 95 kilometers per hour, it's generally quicker for line. It generally bowls at around 90, 88, 90 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, sorry. And it's bowled touch quicker, I think, in this test series.
Atra, I'll come to you with the Australian batting. Against spin, I think Khwaja in the last innings looked absolutely assured and played beautifully. You were there in the match. What do you think he did well?
I think what they did differently in the third test was they didn't. They tried to play straight as possible. They cut out the sweep shot to a large extent. In fact, Khwaja in that innings he played around 100 balls, close to 100 balls. He probably swept 4 balls here and there. I mean, sweep and reverse sweep, hardly 4 or 5 balls. While in the 80 that he made in the second test, I think he played 50% of his shots were sweeps or reverse sweeps. So that's a major change that the Australians affected in their strategy, and I think they worked on this during the break. There was a long break of around 10 days between the second and third matches, and I think that's when it stuck on them. It dawned on them that sweeping at everything is not the way out. So that's a major difference that I spotted in the third test. That's what they did differently. And I mean, when they had the partnership, Labuschagne and Khwaja in the first innings, they didn't sweep at all. They didn't try to sweep at all. And Khwaja in particular, I mean, who was playing that shot all the time and got out to it a few times in the series, in the first and second test, he completely cut that shot out. That's one. Number two is they had also, I mean, the break helped them in the sense mentally. So they came out of this. They were almost getting psyched out after the first and second tests. So that break helped them, and they could mentally regroup, re-strategize, and rework their game plan. And that's what worked for them. And also, what for them majorly was the low Indian total in the first innings, in the third.
Yeah. After that, I think psychologically, anyway, you are, you have a boost up because you know that
See,
India is under.
they didn't. I mean, despite all their efforts, they made something in the region of 190, and which is not it was below 200. So, which was not a huge score by any standard. But yes, that second wicket partnership put them in the driver's seat. That 95-run partnership between Khwaja and Labuschagne, as I had mentioned that day before while reviewing that day's play, that it could turn out to be a match-defining partnership, and so it did. And highlight of that partnership was not to play square of the wicket, particularly of the fuller balls.
Correct.
You cut the ball, you pull the ball, that's all right. But playing square against fuller deliveries can be dangerous on has to be dangerous on those kind of wickets, and that's what they consciously avoided.
Devashish, Atra spoke about how the Australians used the break. There was another person who used the break really well, Chiteshwar Pujara. He went back to his hometown, practiced, and we saw that. We saw him perform in the second innings. Do you think these breaks between test matches can actually completely shift momentum? Now is the momentum completely with Australia?
No, I don't think the momentum is with Australia. Yes, they did win against India, but then in Indian conditions, Indians. If you look at the record speaks for itself. 15 series win means India's dominance in last 10 years have been outstanding in Test match cricket. Let's put it straight away, because very few teams have come to India and won against India. So I think that was a one-off test that in Australia, and that has got a lot to do with the wicket. That was not a proper test wicket on any given day, because the ball turning from square on, the bouncing, uneven bounce, keeping low, that's not a proper test wicket. So, and what I guess is that the wicket at Ahmedabad will be a much better wicket, a batting track. So I think it will turn as well, but India's best chance will be to have a spinning tech. But as far as the break is concerned, I think yes, it does to some extent, yeah, as was the case with Australia, because they prepared well, trying to strategize against the likes of Ashwin, Jadeja, Akshar. So that as Atro said, that they did make some homework as to how they should counter the Indian spinners. As far as Pujara, obviously we know the batter he is, but in fact everyone, be it Virat has been playing well, but he's playing those one. If you notice at the end of the first innings, he played only one cross-batted shot that led to his downfall. He was plumbed in front. So I think India should be a bit careful. Obviously for stroke players like Rohit or a Shubman or other batters, means they need to be positive. It's not that they should go on a defensive set of mindset, means that might bring to their downfall.
Bharat, the two big guns in this series, the two big batters, Steven Smith from one end and Virat Kohli from the Indian side, they are due. We have seen them play well, but we haven't really seen the big innings coming. Ahmedabad pitch seems to be, as Debashi says, it might be even Smith has said it might be the best batting surface so far. Looking for fireworks, or also maybe if you can throw some light on where exactly have they gone wrong, both Smith and Kohli.
Not too sure they've gone much wrong. Perhaps with Virat Kohli, for a period of time, bowlers have tended to bowl better at him, but it happens to us, all the batters. If you look at very fast bowlers like Virat Kohli, they tend to bowl back of length, short of length, slightly more good length, and then bowl it slightly fuller outside off. That's basically because Kohli doesn't play the cut stroke much. As far as spinners are concerned, perhaps Kohli is a little bit anxious to come forward. In that sense, perhaps his back foot is loading slightly early, so too early. And that is why his lighter foot, front foot, is plonking out perhaps a little too early. That is why he's playing a couple of cross-batted shots. That is basically loading it too early. That's committing too early. That's what Rahul Dravid also once said many years ago when he was talking to Kevin Peterson. Send that particular letter. Perhaps that is what Kohli is doing. But he played well actually in the indoor test for those 22 runs. But again, after scoring those 22 runs, he made one mistake where he perhaps loaded a bit too early. That is why he plonked out and plonked his friends out, and he was out early. So perhaps 2 runs because he looked in decent touch in the Delhi test as well as in the first innings in the indoor test. But again, it depends on confidence. You go through a low patch for 2-3 years. If you don't have the confidence, you will be sort of anxious at the crease. That's what perhaps is happening to Kohli. That is so anxious to come on the front foot that he's making the occasional mistake of committing too early. Smith, obviously, Jadeja, on the first couple of occasions, he troubled him. As you know, Jadeja is someone who can hit the same area again and again. And sometimes the occasional ball turns, sometimes it just goes straight on. The seam position, there isn't much, when you look at the rotation, there isn't much of a difference, the ball rotation. So, he's got out some good deliveries. So, again, it depends on Steve Smith's confidence. They have played on 2-3 really tough pitches. So suddenly what happens is you don't have the confidence, you might just nick one or get LBW early on. So it's difficult to say whether they will score runs, but yes, they definitely do.
Anubhav Talukdar had a question, but that's on the WPL match, which you have to wait for 10 more minutes before we shift to that. We are still discussing the fourth test, and Atra, I wanted to know, for a batter like Virat Kohli, he has gone 15 test innings without a half century. How much of a mental pressure will he be under home conditions? He's playing well, but those runs are, they are coming, but there is a bit of umpiring decisions going against him. Maybe losing the concentration a little, but something is going wrong. So, as Virat Kohli, how worried, or I won't say worried, let's put it this way, how much pressure would he be under?
See, any batter at any level whose job is to score runs, he will be under some sort of pressure. I mean, not just from the outside, but also from within. He will be feeling that pressure because his job is to score runs. And when somebody who's so prolific at doing that doesn't do it for a considerable period of time, he will be under some sort of stress. I mean, whether you call it pressure, whether you call it stress, whether you call it something else, that's a different matter. But he would be very eager to get back among the runs. So, and this probably be his best chance in this series, because today Steve Smith at the pre-match press conference said that this looks like a 450-500 wicket. So if that is the case, then batters of both teams will heave a sigh of relief. And as you said, I mean, coming back to Virat Kohli, uh, as we all of us know, and all of us have seen that in the 15 innings that he has gone without a half century, not in every innings did he look clueless. He looked quite good in some of those, but actually players do go through such phases. I mean, this is probably the first time that Virat Kohli has gone through such a long phase and long and unproductive phase. But batters, when you play for such a long time, these phases are bound to come because hardly, I mean, there is no, I mean, Bradman or Gavaskar, they comes once in 100 years, who hardly had any bad outings. But as far as Virat Kohli goes, I think he will be under a I mean, anxiety. I mean, call it pressure, call it stress, call it anxiety to get anxious to get runs. Some of it will be playing on his mind, but I expect it to come good because a player of his caliber will not be kept quiet for such a long time. I mean, there one innings has to come where he will get the job done, and I think his best chance comes here.
Devashish, you know what all of
And
us agree.
we also have to remember that in this series, no batsman has consistently scored runs. I mean, Khwaja has made half centuries. Other than Akshar Patel has made 2 half centuries. Other than these two, all batters have struggled. I mean, batters of both teams have struggled. So it's really unfair to single out Virat Kohli and say that he's the only one who's failing. That is not the case. Everybody has failed. So and these have been challenging conditions for batsmen against spin bowling, and the Australian spinners have bowled well. We also have to take that into account. It's not that the Indians have thrown away their wickets all the time. Yes, there were loose shots. Even Virat was guilty of playing a few loose shots a couple of times. But Australians have earned their wickets, including Virat's.
Absolutely. But Devashish, what I would ask you again is, see, the thing is, if a batter is completely out of form and is looking clueless and is not getting runs, it is probably somewhere you would still understand. But when you are batting well, but the runs aren't coming, then it gets a little frustrating for someone like Virat, because when Virat scores a 50, that too seems to be not good enough. Right, Devashish?
Yeah,
So
but he has been scoring runs in white ball format. So it's not that Virat is in bad form, and he has been
exactly.
batting. He has been batting well in this series as well. It's just as you mentioned that few umpiring decisions, few loose shots has led to his downfall. But obviously, one would expect for a batter of the caliber of Virat that that the pressure on Virat is immense. Means first the record he has set, means ever after since couple of years back, there is always that expectation whenever Virat walks into bat. It is not the case for other batters in this Indian team, be it for Virat and to some extent Rohit Sharma. So there will always be this pressure. And talking about Virat, I think he is enjoying his moment right now because he's quite relaxed with the teammates. As you can see, he spent a lovely time
In the Holi video.
playing Holi with the teammates and the social media videos that he does. So there is no two ways about that Virat is feeling any pressure. Yes, he at the back of mind he would love to score runs, but he is in the best frame of mind after that break he took, and ever since he came back from that break, he has looked to score runs, and it reflected in white ball format. He has scored centuries in Asia Cup and then in Bangladesh as well. So I don't think Virat Kohli. It's just that one innings, and maybe this is the test match he's looking for as like other batters also from both teams, because this is a perfect batting wicket for the first time in the series. So the batters will enjoy at least for the first couple of days.
Right. Well, now let
Arthur
us.
has 6 points to make.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I didn't notice. Yes, please, Arthur.
When it comes to pitches, I must say that today I noticed something very funny. While the Indian captain was addressing the media, he said that he's expecting another challenging wicket. And the Australian captain said that the par score would be 450, 500. So we'll have to play that.
So one of them has seen the wrong wicket, I'm sure. or maybe it's just that one of them is just giving false stocks impressions and scaring the other team.
See, the other thing about this is, I mean, not many people can read how exactly is a pitch going to play. I had heard long back that that stop predicting about how a pitch is going to play unless it's very, very obvious. I mean, pitch talk is something which makes fools out of people. Such talks have led to such outcomes quite often in the past. So pitch is something that you don't pinpoint. You can say this might be the case, it might just be the case, or may not be the case. But don't try to pinpoint that what exactly it's going to be. Like, I mean, these are two completely contrasting forecasts, right? Like somebody is saying it's a challenging wicket, somebody is saying it's a par score is going to be 450, 500. So who do you settle for?
I think that was another brain-fed movement for Steve Smith.
Yes, in this, I was just going to say, in this series, Steve Smith's big brain fade moment is yet to come. So maybe the press conference could have been, or maybe Rohit men challenging for the bowlers. We never know. We will find out tomorrow. But Atreyu, you will be obviously building up. You will be sending us the, how the fans are going for the match, and we will be setting up Border Gavaskar Trophy 4th Test more tomorrow. Now, guys, let's move
This is
on
going to be a grand. It's going to be a grand occasion, mind you. The Prime Minister of the two countries are going to be here.
Yes.
Are going to be present at the ground. They'll take a lap of the ground on an open top vehicle. So it's going to be a grand occasion. Never. I don't recall. I mean, two prime ministers being present at the ground for a test match. I remember the 2011 World Cup semi-final between India and Mohali, where the two prime ministers, I think Nawaz Sharif and Manmohan Singh, they were at the ground. And tomorrow is going to be, but that was a one-day match World Cup semi-final. This is just a bilateral series. And although the Australian PM is here for some other reasons, not to enjoy the cricket, but both will be there at the ground, and which will make the occasion a little chaotic, a little grand, and very different from what we have seen in the previous three matches.
I think it happened once.
We were hearing some stands will be closed because of security. Yes, Bharat?
Yeah, I think it happened once somewhere, 1958 or something, when Pakistan toured Australia, but not exactly prime ministers of Australia and Pakistan. I think Pakistan president, perhaps Ayub Khan, and US president was there. I think they asked one test match in East Pakistan, in Dhaka.
Yes, Atreyu, you were saying something?
Yeah, there is no confirmation on restriction on crowd movement. I mean, so far there has been no announcement that we were hearing before we came here, or just after we came here, reached Ahmedabad, that there are going to be restrictions. The spectators will have to reach by a certain time before 8:30 or something. But there has been no confirmation on that, and certainly no announcement. So let's see. I mean, as of now, there are no restrictions, and it's a huge space. A huge place. I remind you, there is a lot of. It's a massive space out there.
Yeah. Yes.
Already, stadium, we all know what the capacity is, but outside the stadium also there are lots of empty spaces, and so even if very crowded, it may not look very crowded
because it's a huge ground. Devashish is, you know, Atreyu, why Devashish is smiling? Because Devashish and the Australian PM have a lot in common. They keep visiting Australia often, right, Devashish? As Joydeepda keeps saying. So, Devashish, do you feel the players will be under a lot more pressure because big dignitaries coming in to watch the match, or does it not affect them at all? My last question before we move on to the women's match.
They are used to. They are used to playing in front of huge crowd. Don't think any pressure. And what has the prime minister's got to do with their cricket?
Well, considering the way Narendra Modi supports the sports persons, you know, he will be knowing a few stats, I feel, you know. But before I move on to the women's match, today, of course, is Boria Majumdar's birthday. Today is a player's birthday as well. Harmanpreet Kaur, it's her birthday. So, Atreyu, did you watch the semi-final, the 171 not out that she had scored? Have you watched? Did you watch that?
In parts, because I was in office, it was in the evening, and although there was TV in front of me, it's difficult to watch the match in full when you are working. I do remember a few shots, those huge heaves towards the leg side, which landed in the stands. I remember those shots. And Harman has been a special player. Especially a few months back in England. Remember the third match? He just took them apart. Although that was a very substandard English attack. Not
True.
many of the frontline bowlers played in that game, and they bowled pretty poorly. Full toss is shot and all that. But that was again a very special innings. I mean, he scored some insane number of runs in the last 25 or 30 deliveries.
Right.
She's a special player. We have a
Manoj
question.
Anderson. Today,
Our
Harman's birthday.
our favorite listener, Manoj Anderson. Hi, Manoj.
Hi, Manoj. Today, Harman's birthday. Yes, 171 not out of 115 is greatest knocks in history of cricket in knockout. Trisha, ma'am, your thoughts? I think it was one of the most the knocks that I enjoyed the most because she was gutsy. She was fantastic. She was just beating the Australians. You know, Australians looked clueless for a change. Australians generally do not look clueless, especially this Meg Lanning's team, but they were looking clueless that day. And, you know, Herman went without breakfast. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be in every knockout. Keep her hungry so that she keeps scoring runs. Um, right, Manoj, please keep sending questions for us. Today, a key match, Debashish, in Women's Premier League, Royal Challengers Bangalore versus Gujarat Giants. Both of them are looking for points. Uh, there are total 8 matches that every team plays, and probably could this match probably decide which team is going to end up last, because whoever loses this match actually now loses 3 matches.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gujarat has won a very important toss. They have decided to bat first, and obviously not much changes. I think they are going in with the same team that they played in the last match. Neither did RCB also making any changes, but it's. I would have loved to see a Dan Van Niekerk in that playing 11 for RCB. So it's another match he has to sit out. So Sophie Devines is persisted with. But talking about the two sides, obviously they would love to um, get some points on board, because if you end up losing the first 3 matches, you will have all the catching. It will be very difficult because you only have 8 matches. So
It literally
I would
comes
say
down to
5 out of 10
probably you have
times.
to win
Yeah,
all the 5 matches now.
absolutely.
If
So it becomes very difficult, and considering that other teams will also win matches. No, it's not that about you only winning matches.
exactly.
Other teams will also. It becomes very difficult to make it to the knockout stages.
After so this tournament, I would say it is a shortish one because again, 8 matches. How long do you persist with a player? Say for example, when would you now? We can't talk about whether Danish should have played instead of Divine initially, right? They have stuck with Sophie Divine. So when do you think a team can decide that okay, I've given whichever player enough chances because there are only 8 matches?
Yeah, I mean, in such a format, you don't get a lot of time to see or assess or evaluate what is working for you and what is not. So it's pretty much like, I mean, if player X clicks in this match, all and good.
Devashish, can you pick it up? Maybe there's some internet issue
Yeah.
at Athens.
Yeah, obviously, the franchises, some of the team management, they have a set pattern of thinking, because we give these players so and so ex overseas cricketers so and so matches. Maybe that might be the reason that the RCB has persisted with Sophie Devine. Obviously, she's a big name. There's no
Absolutely.
denying the fact that she's a big name. Maybe they want to give Sophie Devine certain number of matches. If she still fails, then perhaps bring in a Danevan Nikar. So that might be the thinking behind, or maybe Danevan Nikar is carrying some niggles. That's the reason she's not drafted into playing 11. But as far as the overseas players are concerned, obviously the RCB looks very settled with Sophie Devine, Ellis Perry, Heather Knight, and Megan Short. Obviously, Gujarat Giants will be somewhat uh, what to say, pushed back by the injury to Beth Mooney, because obviously they entrusted heavily on Beth Mooney. First of all, she's the captain of your side. She brings a wealth of experience. She's an opening batter. So a lot of things revolves around Beth Mooney before forming that team, and then suddenly to miss her out, not then it puts immense pressure on Sneh Rana. First up, it's a franchise cricket. So to be gelling with the teammates, because hardly any of the teams had spent a lot of time meeting the players, knowing each other. So that might be a worrying factor for Gujarat Giants.
After a team during auctions, they buy players and decide on a particular balance for the team. And then these injuries happen. First, Doughton couldn't give a clear medical certificate. Then Mooney got injured in the fourth ball of their, first match itself. How much does that peg back a team, mentally?
Quite significantly, because as we discussed earlier, that I mean, eight matches per side means that there is not a lot of time to come back once you have lost first couple of matches, and there is not a lot of time to come back. So these are quite significant setback. And when this concerns your top players like Beth Mooney, Diantha Dottin, these are the players the teams were banking on. So
Absolutely.
and heavily invested in. So injury setbacks to such players are always going to be very, very detrimental to the team concerned. And Gujarat is probably a little bit unlucky that they have suffered these. And they have also had a pretty bad start. Of the two teams that are playing today, Gujarat have lost more heavily the first two matches. First was they were thrashed by 160 runs or something, and second match they've also by quite a big margin. So their run rate has gone for a toss. So they have to win now. I mean, for them, it's not a question of run rate anymore. For them, it's a question of garnering
How
points,
many points
and
can
their
they
mission
get?
starts today.
Absolutely.
That's the points. Points is the only way that they can salvage this campaign somewhat. But as Debashish pointed out, as you pointed out, it looks quite uphill from there for them from here. RCB,
Uh,
although they have also lost two matches, their
yeah.
second loss was quite close. They had that match wrapped. They had the match in their pocket. They had it wrapped up until that 8-wicket partnership out of nowhere, 3 overs, 56 runs, they took it away. So RCB is possibly better placed of the two teams without points so far.
Absolutely. And RCB has actually, Devashi, strengthened their bowling. They have gotten um, Poonam Khemnar, the leg spinner, instead of Disha Kasat. Disha wasn't doing very well. They have gotten. Do you think it will be a match mostly between struggling RCB bowlers versus struggling Gujarat Giants batters? Because Gujarat Giant has been losing wickets in a heap. They go, first wicket falls, 4 wicket falls in no time. Do you see the
Yeah,
contest? Yeah,
yeah, there was a lot of expectation for Disha Kasar, the power hitter she is, yeah, obviously, but on both the occasions, especially in the match against the Mumbai Indians, she was foxed by a delivery from Shaika Ishaq,
absolutely.
getting bowled first ball, and also first match also batting at number 4 and hardly contributing anything. So it's a bit unfair as well. Means if you ask me, because and this is a new tournament, something new that they are witnessing, and they have to prove a point. I mean, straight away you need to perform or perish. So this is a cutthroat competition as far as franchisee cricket is concerned, but you have to accept it. I don't know too much about the one she has been replaced about, but
That's fine. No
yeah,
worries. I mean, most people do
yeah,
not know a lot about domestic cricket, and that happens. That happens because, uh, you know, I have got a lot of questions, Devashish, about why do people know about men domestic players a lot more than women domestic players. I just want to put it on record because women domestic matches are not shown. Only a few matches are shown. That's why most people know about a few players. Uh, anyway, getting to Swapnil, if we could get Manoj's comment, because I was going to ask that to Athro. Yes, thank you. Again, it's Manoj Anderson. Megan Shoot, last 5 out of 6 matches has gone for 40s in 4 overs. Swing bowling not suiting. I will add to it, Athro. Megan Shoot has not bowled well, but she has been one of the best batters for RCB in WPL. Uh, how do you, you know, probably, how do I put it? How do you actually uh, see a player, or how do you actually think of dropping her or not dropping her based on this? Because Shoot is a bowler. Her main strength is bowling, where she's going for 10 runs and over, more than 10 runs and over. But with the bat, she has saved RCB. So how can you look at that? Like, how do you, do you think of replacing her, or you go with her?
See, as far as the WPL goes, it has been overwhelmingly loaded in favor of batters. The conditions, the pitch, the outfield, everything has worked in favor of batters. We have already seen some 3 or 4 totals above 200. We have seen 175, 170 odd chase down in the last 3 overs. And like yesterday we saw, although today's match is going to be held at a different venue. Today it's Brabant Stadium. Yesterday it was DY Patil. But the outfields are very fast, and the pitches are absolutely, there is very little for the bowlers. So
Devashish, I think Atro has some internet issue. I will come to you. Devashish, do you think having the same kind of bowlers in Renuka Singh and Megan Shoot, uh, do you think that is RCB's problem? Because obviously Renuka and Shoot both depend on swing bowling.
yeah, that is the factor.
Those are your two key fast bowlers. That is you are relying your pace department. You are banking on these two fast bowlers. So you have to play them on any given day. Because Renuka Singh Thakur has spearheaded the Indian bowling at Megan Shoot for Australia. So no two ways about it. You are your premier fast bowlers, even if they go for 40 runs, maybe one. If there is an injury, then only they will go out. But that fast bowling department relies on these two bowlers in the RCB ranks. Trisha.
Absolutely. Atra, if I go to the Gujarat lineup, Gujarat's bowling seems to be more settled than probably an RCB bowling. RCB batters, now if I come to RCB batters, again, they have performed in patches. Do you think someone like a Heather Knight, who can play the anchor role, should be sent a little up, maybe at 3, to just hold the innings at 1 end? Or maybe if Smriti could play that, or should Smriti play that kind of an innings?
See, I'll come to your first part of your question first. Gujarat, on what basis do we say that they have the better bowling lineup? Because in 2 matches they have conceded runs in heaps, and I mean, coming back to some previous question earlier in this discussion, that it's not going to be a contest between RCB's struggling bowling versus Gujarat's struggling batting. I think it's going to be between RCB's struggling bowling versus Gujarat's struggling batting and struggling bowling. So that way, RCB is probably slightly ahead. I mean, although marginally. I mean.
Okay. Devashish, I'll come to you with the question on...
Satroda's internet is very, very poor.
Yes, unfortunately it is. I just saw a question. Shopnil, I'm taking this question if it's possible to, put it up. On Anubhav Talukdar has said, is Beth Muni back? No, Beth Muni is not back, and probably she won't be back for this WPL. Probably. I've said probably. Please don't start attacking.
Is it so serious?
Yes, it seems to be that serious.
Then they should take a player replacement.
Ideally, they should. Yes, there it goes. Ideally, from what I hear, Beth Muni probably would not recover for the rest of the WPL, or at least that.
You said that.
Rachel Hen said that in the last match in between innings when there's the interview. She said it's not looking good for Muni. But then again, there has been no confirmation, so I'm not confirming it on the basis of what Haynes said. I'm saying this. Getting back to the point, Sneh Rana, she was the captain last match, and here Smriti Mandana, they have been captaining Railways, and obviously Smriti used to captain Maharashtra when she used to play. Who has been? I mean, again, there's hardly any match to judge, but then we still have to judge. So, did you watch the last match? Did you think their captaincy was on point? Debashish, I'll
You
come
are
to Atru with
putting
that
me in a
question.
soup. I have not watched the last match.
Okay, no problem. There's no issue at all. What is the
I'm
par
extremely
score?
sorry. Extremely sorry to our viewers to also, because I have last couple of matches I could not watch.
But we had a good reason. We were there in the conclave. It's not like
Yeah.
we didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Uh, Atru, there is a question from Manoj, and I'm taking it. What is the par score in this Brabant pitch? Interesting.
Around 180. I think around 180. Because
Debashish,
these pitches have not assisted. There have been no swing. There have hardly been any spin. Although Shaika Ishaq got a few wickets, these wickets have not aided the bowlers that much. And the outfields are really quick. Some of the boundaries are really small. I mean short. So I think around 180 is a par score at least, if not more.
right. Debashish, do you agree with that 180 par score?
Yeah, to some extent, yes, to some extent, because it's a small ground, Brevon Stadium. The boundaries are
Dew
much
will
smaller.
also be a factor, you think?
Uh, so far, it hasn't been that effective, the due factor. But I think if Gujarat can post a total of in excess of 180, then it would be a good match. Not a match-winning innings in any count, I would say, because that first of all, it's a small ground, and obviously both the teams, especially RCB, has a very strong batting lineup with Smriti Mandana, Sophie Devine, Ellis Perry, Heather Knight, Richa Ghosh. So that's a quite a strong batting lineup. So Gujarat, I think the key would be to post any total in excess of 180 plus. Means that's a
That's bare
given.
minimum.
Yeah, bare minimum.
Atra, I wanted to actually discuss about this very interesting rule that has been brought on in WPL, that you can challenge wides and no balls. What do you think about this rule?
See, I mean, these are innovations that we associate with franchise-based cricket, especially when it comes to franchise-based cricket in India, like IPL and now in WPL. In IPL also, I think they are going to have this system, the
Yes.
review referral DRS of
Yeah.
wide call. See, it's a, I mean, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are two ways of looking at it. I mean, half the glass is half empty or glass is half full. One is that, yeah, you do get a more accurate call. I mean, in terms of accuracy of the judgment that is verified by the third umpire, and any improper call or a wrong call gets corrected. That's one. And the other side is I mean, robs the game of something natural. The natural element goes away. I mean, there is an umpire has called wide, let it be wide. I mean, why disrespect the umpire on the field? And it breaks the momentum, and I mean, it affects the flow of the game. That day we saw in the last over, it happened twice. One was upheld, one was negated. So, and both went in favor of the side chasing, I think UP Warriors. And those things will
And
happen,
that
but
also
I mean,
seemed to quite absolutely seemed to affect Sutherland. She
and
was bowling.
these are things we'll have to accept. I mean, as long as we keep watching WPL or IPL, these are things that we'll have to accept, come to accept.
And for me
Whether
is
we like
that
it or not,
we have seen
we are not going to take a call. And
IPL.
it's like that glass is half empty or half full, whichever way you prefer.
We have seen
Yes, Debashish.
IPL matches being stretched till midnight. So be prepared for midnight shows on Rain Sports platform because you have a DRS for no, you have a DRS for wide, then an original DRS. So just imagine what will happen. And
Every ball went for a DRS.
all credit to gentleman called MS Dhoni who went into the ground challenging the umpires. It is all because of the superstars the firing against the umpires that has led to this decision.
Yes, Atru, you were trying to say
And I
something.
think as I mentioned earlier, it also undermines the presence of the umpire. It undermines the dignity of the umpire. The umpire is doing a
Absolutely.
job. He or she is getting paid for that. He or she is qualified to do this job. Then I mean, already you have taken no ball away from them, the umpires. Now, if you take the white ball away from them, I mean, what do they do now? They
Stumping and run out also
only
gone.
sign to us, only make this gesture. They are out there. Then scrap that also. Why let them? Why let them why have them in the middle?
No, they're
If
just
that's
there.
the only job that they will do.
After they're
They will
just there to count the
keep the
ball.
bowlers cap, keep the bowlers sweater, and say over. That's it. Everything else
Abdullah is spot on.
goes. So
I
that
absolutely.
for me that we are taking an important aspect of the game away from the game. Umpiring. I mean, although nobody goes to nobody watches a match to see what the umpires are doing, but umpires are also an integral part of the game. I mean,
It's a
by
thankless
curtailing
job.
them,
It's a
by
thankless
curtailing them,
job. Umpiring is a thankless job.
we are robbing the game of an integral element.
Yes.
And probably in a way discouraging people from taking up the job of umpiring, which is anyway a thankless job. So if this happens, if this keeps happening, who will be motivated to take up umpiring? I mean, if his or her job is to make this sign, then I mean, not many people will be willing to take it up unless they pay very well.
One thing for sure, Atra is not taking up the job and not going to encourage people to take up the job if this continues. But from one thankless job to another, now with this added DRS, no ball, white ball, wicket keepers need to be more street smart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We give the DRS, a lot has to be decided by the wicket keepers because he's the man behind. So he can actually assess where the ball has been pitched, where's the pad has been hit, the point of contact. He's the best judge. So and he need to act instantly, which is it's a bit let down after MS Dhoni because since MS Dhoni means we could there is not many wicket keepers who have been straight smart as far as DRS is concerned. Yeah, but then I think it's a huge role that important wicket keeper's role is very important as far as DRS is concerned.
Atra, seeing one drop, one hand coming in the franchisee game soon?
Something similar. You never know. I mean, in case of, I mean, instead of a super over, first we had bowl out, then came the super over. Now this may be used to settle a tight match. You never know. Where there'll be no rewards for big hits. Where it'll not be about big hits.
Or maybe they can make the 6s to 8s depending on how far has it landed.
Well, every game, there is room for innovation in every game, and cricket is one of those games where we have because that's one game we follow very closely, being Indians, and innovation has there have been so many innovations over the last 20 years. I mean, I think all of us have been following cricket for around 20 years or more. And so that way we have seen so many new things. I mean, who thought that one day there will be third umpire? Then suddenly Tendulkar gets run out by the third umpire. Then and slowly started, and not slowly, so gradually things started evolving. And now we have come to this stage, and I'm sure there'll be more. I mean, I'm sure there is more in store because they're not going to stop in one particular place. They want it to keep it going like that. Unless something new element is added, they are not satisfied.
Well,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just an observer. As an observer, I see this. That so many innovations coming, and innovations sometimes getting precedence over convention, or what is more practical, or what appears more logical to us. So those are things we have to live with, and we still keep loving the game. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have come here and talked about these things. So innovations are welcome, and traditions are to be respected. They have to go hand in hand.
Perfectly put. After that final statement from Atra, one very important question. Let's straight away move to predictions. Devashish, you're already wearing a hat, so prediction hat.
Yeah,
RCB,
I would go with RCB, especially because if you see, I always look at the balance of the side, and for me, RCB looks much stronger on paper. So and they have the firepower both in the bowling and in the batting. So I will put my money on RCB to win this match.
If RCB doesn't, then that money is for dessert tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem.
Atreo, your prediction?
I am not putting my money on anybody because I don't have a lot of it. But I'll go for go with RCB.
Atreo on fire.
I'll
Well,
go with RCB because RCB has been the better of the two bad sides and two badly performing sides, and they have players in every department who have not clicked so far. But I expect them to come good today. I expect it to come good someday, and I think I hope rather since I've already said that this is going to be the day.
well, and before I close the show, I hope both of you are completely wrong and Gujarat Giants wins it. And this doesn't come from my bias; it just comes from the fact that I would like to see Gujarat perform because there are a lot of domestic players, and with stars like Mooney missing, the domestic players like Hemlata and all playing, I would like them to perform better. Yes, Atre.
And saying that RCB will win puts me in some sort of risk because I'm sitting in Gujarat and saying that Gujarat will lose.
Oops.
Oh, Athro, I have never seen the other side of Athro. And today
Yes,
we
I
have
mean today he has been on fire.
Athro
This has been superb.
superb.
We always want Atreo in this mode. But as of now, gentlemen, I have to bid goodbye because we have to start watching the match. And Devashish, you will be joining me post the match as well. Please come on. And Atreo, I know
No, I'm not.
you wouldn't be able to join me post the match because you have an early morning tomorrow with the test match starting. We will be all waiting for the coverage, and of course, we will be seeing more and more of Atreo in the next few days. Just try and ensure that this test match goes beyond 2.5 days, maybe. Thank you,
Smith has said,
everyone, for. Sorry.
Howard Smith has said that.
uh, well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining. It's 2-1 here towards RCB. Let's see which team wins, and of course, join us for the post show. And I hope you guys haven't missed the conclave videos because if you have, you can still go and watch it. Please stay with us, follow us, and keep watching Red Sports. Thank you.